Hi, welcome to the very first episode of the TBI Kitchen. I'm Sandy Rodriguez, and TBI, two meanings, one menu. Taste beyond imagination from this traumatic brain injury survivor. Hey, what's up? Welcome, and we're going to make something fun today. So, the reason for this channel is I want to make the kitchen a not scary place for anyone who has a cognitive disorder, a physical disorder, or if you're just a first-time baker. We're going to bake a lot. We do a little bit of cooking. So I want to make it so it's easier for you the way I did, because I retaught myself how to bake. When I got my traumatic brain injury, I woke up and at 24, had retrograde amnesia. So I had to relearn everything, and this is how baking helped because I loved it. Oh, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and ding the bell for notifications if you want to give me a comment or ask me any questions. Now today I wanted to do something very special with the first episode, and it's my DREW BARRYMORE bar. Yum, 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 yum. Yes, DREW BARRYMORE bar. And what does that mean? It's like, well, when I'm baking, I get inspired sometime to make a themed pastry or something. So I started hearing certain things. I was like, God, that represents DREW to me. Why don't I make something? Well, what we have here, how I start every episode, make sure I have my list of things, and I have my prep station or my prep pan. And what that means is I have 3x5 cards. I started making these to have. So you write what the ingredient is and measure it, and then put it down so everything is tagged. That way you don't forget anything. So what I have here is 10 ounces of unsalted butter. Now, if your butter is cold and you forgot to take it out and get room temp for a while, because I did that. I forgot to do that. Take it. So what you can do is take the wrapper off of it, cut it in half long ways, flip it over, cut it in half again, and then cut off little squares off the end. That means that it's already real close to being room temp. So let's pause right here. Let me turn around and turn the oven on to preheat. Always do that as soon as you start, because then you get a hot oven. You're going to preheat the oven to 325. So I got the oven to yeah, okay. I'm not a musician. I like to think I am. All right. So I took 2 ounces out of that 10 ounce of butter and set it aside. Now you can do this in a stand mixer or a hand mixer here, and that's a little loud, so we'll do a little. Okay, that's a little loud, but all right. 1 cup of sugar. You put that in there. These bags are tricky. Okay. Oh, I was going to say story time. All right, pour the sugar in there. And then you want to put this on low. Go low and slow, like the Beastie Boy says. And let this go until it's whipped. Yeah. All right. Now, if your mixers are like this, the butter, stop. And, wow, that's still not a little. Okay, stop and get all the, oh, take it off then. stop and use your clean hand, please. Get the butter unstuck from here. Yeah, don't put your butter in the microwave, please, because when you do that, unless the recipe calls for melted butter, that will tell you to melt it, but don't put it in the microwave because of a science. When you melt the butter, it changes the molecular structure, like the little science stuff. The structure of it, of the butter, you want it to be like a thick fluff of butter and sugar. Wow, this thing is loud. All right. I would love to give story talk, but that's really loud, so I'll just. All right. Now, why are my eggs in water? If you, like I didn't take eggs out to get room temp, just on the counter. So what you can do is take a small bowl and heat up some water to warm. Not hot, just lukewarm, because that gets the inside up to room temp. So, oh yeah, okay. I'm having fun. And the best thing, I see people, even professional bakers do this, and I don't know why they aren't more careful about getting shells. That's it. I take a small clear container, put that shell, crack it with one or two hands. If it's clear, you can see, do I have any egg bits in there? Good, because we don't want anybody going, why is it crunchy? It's not the pretzel. So we have 2 eggs at room temp. Oh, double yolk. Bonus. All right. All right. I'm glad my stand mixer I used to is quieter. So you can use a stand mixer or a hand mixer like I'm doing. All right, now we have a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Do not use imitation. That's a big no-no. All right. Our dry ingredients. We have white flour, 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and then I put 1 teaspoon of salt in the bowl, and a 1/4 teaspoon, oh yeah, here I'm looking here, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Oh, that's groovy. All right, at this point, or you could have done it when you started, is the blonde chocolate. That's part of the DREW BARRYMORE reason, because I have loved her, deeply loved her for decades, and I've loved every shade of blonde she's been. And when I was watching a PBS special about chocolate, how they harvest it, where it grows, the ins, the outs, the yes and the no's of like making chocolate, they talked about different chocolate. Milk chocolate, white chocolate, dark, semi-sweet, we all know. But then they said blonde chocolate, and I went, blonde chocolate? What's that? I'm interested. So I looked it up. I ordered some from a place, olivenation.com. I'll put everything I say in the description. Or you could go to Amazon and get from there. And blonde chocolate is tan. It's a shade of blonde hair. And all that means is it's caramelized white chocolate. Now that doesn't mean there's caramel in here. Caramelization happens when the heat is low and slow in an oven or even on a grill, and you let the sugars, the natural sugars in here, darken as they cook on, and it's like when you grill and you put meat, whether it's got a crust, like a flavoring on it or not, you grill it and then you flip the meat and there's that crust of crunchy flavor. That's like caramelizing meat. It's not carameling, it's just the what happens, like sugar got a tan, the white sugar got a tan, and it is. So after we put, what you'll do with this is, I know I'm starting with a recipe that's not simple and kind of scary. Hold on, let me explain. This is a medium level recipe, and I did it because I wanted to start. I said, I want to start the first episode with my DREW BARRYMORE bar, so maybe she sees it. And it's really, this is one I'm so proud of, that I got to where I did with it when doing, testing after testing after testing. So you'll take the 2 tablespoons that I didn't put in already. Remember I said, here's 8 tablespoons, and then you set 2 aside. Put that in the bowl, and then melt the blonde chocolate 15 seconds at a time. Take it out, stir it, and you shouldn't need to do it more than like 3 or 4 times. And it's like, it looks like wet sand. It's tastier. So after we put the eggs and the vanilla in, let's put, oh my God, it smells so good. So now I relearned how to bake because of occupational therapy. When I was in therapy full time, I had physical therapy. After I got out of the hospital, I stayed 7 weeks at University of Michigan Hospital. I'll tell you about that story in a minute. And part of occupational therapy is they teach you how to do everyday things. Understanding how to write a check in a checkbook. What does that mean when you read the recipe, and what does that say? Or just everyday things you don't think about. I learned occupational therapy. So when I was home, I said, I had fun making cookies in occupational therapy. I want to do it at home. I want to be able to, I want to understand. So I started with help from my mom, because I was living with her at the time. And I'm going to hand mix this. It's not so noisy. So I said, now, if you've had a stroke or a brain injury and you live in a group home, or you are just somewhere that you don't have a lot of freedom, you have to stick by the rules. That's what I had fun with in baking. It says, I make the rules. I could do that brownie my way. When I understood how to write a recipe, I said, hey, that'd be fun to make. Let's try it. So it was in my control, which is, you hate when you don't have that control. It's very demonizing, doesn't make you feel really good about yourself. So this is the control. I said, yeah. So I watched PBS, and now I'm going to put all the dry ingredients. This is 1 3/4 cup of AP flour, white flour. Again, a full teaspoon. Make sure you look at your little, I put those away. It says TSP. 1 teaspoon of that, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. That was fun. Yeah, folding it in means less mess out of the top of the bowl. So I just started thinking, I was like, I love DREW BARRYMORE. And when I understood what I could do to make my own recipe or take a recipe that's already exists and make it my own by changing it a little bit. Oh, yeah. So I thought to myself, what ingredients to me represent Drew Barrymore? Blonde chocolate, when I found out you could order that. And then she's a movie queen, so I said, let's do some salted pretzels, because popcorn did not work. And then to me, Drew Barrymore is a really grounded female. She's very grounded in the way she lives now and being a mother and just keeping everything grounded to being a good human. And my favorite grounding spice is cinnamon. So these are cinnamon chips. They come in two sizes. These are small. So it's a half a cup if you get the small ones. If you get the larger ones, they're not large, but they're the same shape and size as a regular chocolate chip. Do half a cup of that too. So whatever size, it's a half a cup of cinnamon chips. Cinnamon chips are another white chocolate based confection item. I'm sure they did a white chocolate base and added cinnamon oil to it, and then maybe a little brown powder to make it the color that you know cinnamon is. So I thought, this is going to be fun. And final recipe, I was like, yeah, this is tasty. Maybe I can get on Drew's show. Well, that was a fun thought. All right, so now the pretzels you will put on top. Okay. Now, I made this. You're going to take your 9x9 or 9x8 or 10, about a 9x9 square pan. And I have this sprayed all the way up on the bottom and then all the way on the sides. This is parchment paper. It works great in high heat. So now I pressed it in the center, and then what I'm going to do now is make sure that all the ripples are stuck to the side, which is tacky with oil. If you don't have parchment paper, please do not use wax paper. That doesn't work well in heat. So if you don't have and you're weary, okay, can I use foil? You can use foil in the same way. But foil may mess with the temp and how it's baking. If you need to, you just, you watch how much it's cooked, how much is baked halfway through. So if you don't have either, spray or oil, butter all the way around, wipe, and then take some flour, 2 tablespoons, make sure you get the sides, and then dump in the sink, because here we go. Oh yeah. Fun in the kitchen. Now, my car accident and how I got my traumatic brain injury took place January 4th, 1995. I got hit at 55 miles an hour. I don't know. There is a math that car accident specialists use to see how much, if they need to know how much force somebody was hit at, for if they need to have all the stats for a lawsuit or just the report, the police report. And I was unconscious automatically. I will put some pictures of what my car is that I came out of. But I went to Annapolis Hospital first because I got hit in Wayne, Michigan, and the damage was so bad they said we need to air flight her to U of M, University of Michigan, because I was so damaged. Now, I'm doing this to flatten it. You want to hit all corners. You want this to be flat, even on the top before you put your pretzels on it. Now, this keeps moving around and I'm not spreading it very much, so use a clean hand to do this. So spread it out. I'm doing this across the top to each corners, so it's even and it bakes even, and it's really tasty to clean off of your. Ooh, okay. It was up. Now that slippity slide. That's pretty even. It's a little ripply, but when you put your pretzels on top, it evens it out. You can press it down so it's even. Like I said, I woke up at 24. Everything was erased. So when they told my mom at first, Mrs. Rager, we don't think she's going to make it through the night. No, when we got to U of M, I got a helicopter ride. I'll never remember. I won't remember. Okay, let's pick up the pace, Rodriguez. So they said she's not going to make it. My mom said, we don't give up in this family. You don't know my daughter. So I was 2 weeks unconscious, and then my life started over. When I realized, after I spent 7 weeks at U of M, speech therapy, occupational therapy, recreational therapy, emotional therapy, physical therapy, if I didn't say that, or I had everything. I spent 7 weeks there until it was good to go that she's okay to go home. We want you to put her in full-time therapy. So I had somebody come and get me, and I did another year of outpatient therapy at Med Rehab and Ann Arbor. All right, now I'm going to pause on the story and say, now, whatever pretzels you get or you have, if you have maybe some stale pretzels, this will give them life. I used the small twisty pretzels, salted. If you don't want the salted pretzel, please do not, rinse them off unless you really need to. I got the small ones because I like the shape, I like the way it looks. And you can use whatever. If you have the big ones, put the big ones on. You got the sticks, put the sticks on. But leave some space between the sticks, because then that's another, I gotta make sure that this bakes long enough. Why is it taking more than the time that Sandy said? It's because of that layer if you did right next to each other, like army style kind of thing. So, all right. 325 degrees. Now, very important. The it just says 325 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes. I'm going to emphasize this on every recipe. Don't open the door until your timer goes off, because every time you open the door when you're baking, you lose 25 degrees, and then that alters your bake time. So, again, don't open the door, please. If you have a glass front, click the light on, and then you can watch and see okay, that looks almost done. So once the timer goes off, pull out. I'm gonna let those bake pull out, shut the door right away. Because take a toothpick. If you don't have toothpicks, use a fork or a knife. Go in the center, and if any sticky's on, that means it's almost done. You want to use the center because the outside gets the heat first and underneath. So don't worry about altering. Well, do I have to go back to preheating? No. Put it back in. After you test it, put it back in, and then do 10 minutes until it's done. And it will be all right, because you go 10 minutes at a time, pull it out, it's done, set it down. Remember to turn your oven off. Let it cool. Let's see. 8 to 14. I know, why 8 to 14? Why not just a 10 to 15? Let it cool for 10 to 15 minutes if you can. And TV magic. Look at this. All right. Now, when you take it out of the oven and you did a oil or butter flour mixture, don't take it out until it's cool, but take a fork or a dull knife, go around it before you take it out. Go around it. Make sure it's not stuck to the side. And if it's cool enough, take your pan, put a plate over it, flip it out. Take the pan off of it, and then gently flip it over, or just cut pieces from inside. All right. Now, the reason I did a 9x9 instead of a 9x12, okay, I'm having fun with this, instead of a 9x12, is because of the ingredients. Some of these ingredients you won't find in stores, like the blonde chocolate, unless you go to a Whole Foods market. They may have it. Cinnamon chips, you may find those at Kroger's. Sometimes they have them in the chip aisle. Chocolate, not potato. And you might have to order them or pay the price that's a little higher at like a Whole Food market. So that's why it's a money thing. That's why. Plus, when you bake in this, squares, they're not so thin you can't see what's in them. Pretzel, blonde chocolate. Those cinnamon chips don't melt, so you'll have a little maybe, I just crunched on. All right. Of course, this is good because I made it. And what's nice about the pretzels, even though you didn't put like a protecting layer on, like a spray or anything like that, don't do that. The pretzels will not burn because they're surrounded a bit by the batter that's taking heat from the pretzels burning. So everybody has a good hey, what's up? Things are taking some of my heat. So, woohoo! All right, well, thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for hanging out. If you have any comments, questions, please put them in the little boxes below. And let me know what baking challenge you're having. You got a recipe or something? Can you show me how to bake this? Yeah, I'll do it in a future episode, and I'll say, oh, well, so-and-so asked about this. Hey, Denver. And we'll do it on a future video. So, like I said, thanks for stopping by, and let's just say carpe diem. See you next time.